I'm calling this meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. We are heading to, let me start again, guys. That chocolate chip cookie's still stuck in my throat. We are going to call this meeting to order, and we do have a properly posted agenda, and we do have a quorum. We are now going to move to closed session, and we'll reconvene in here at 6 p.m. Yes, and thank you, Dr. Root. And 2A, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, including superintendent or board member, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee. So we are going into session at 5:31. Be back at 6. Where's Jeremy? There's Nate. Okay. All right, we're back in session at 6 p.m. Number 4 on the agenda is the invocation. Matt, if you would lead us in that, please.
Will you stand with me? Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to be here in this place tonight. God, we come before you tonight grateful for the beauty that is in this very room. God, the beauty of people and perspectives and likes and dislikes and cultures and all of the things that make us so unique. We are grateful for each and every one of those things. We thank you for those. We pray that you would be with us tonight as we deliberate the important matters on the agenda tonight. We are grateful for each and every person who is here. We're thankful for the students and the parents and the community that we get to serve, that we have the honor of serving. We pray all of these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you. Number 5, the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please turn towards the flag.
Are we doing Rand?
Oh, we forgot we have Rand. We have a very special group. I'm so sorry, guys. I just got so wrapped up in what I was doing. So we have a couple of very important Rand students. Monique, would you like to introduce them?
The Pledge of Allegiance, will be led by students from Rand Elementary. We have Gabriel Hoskins, who's a 3rd grader, and we also have Riley Hoskins, who is a 1st grader. Their parents are Beatrice and Brandon Hoskins.
Right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys.
Good job.
Thank you.
Y'all did a great job. Do we want to get a quick photo of them?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. You guys want to go on down and get a photograph with your students?
We have their moms and dad.
Yeah. Mom and Dad, come on down too.
Okay, number 6 is public forum. We do have a few speakers tonight. First off is Holly Ann Petrie. And as you make your way up here, do you want a 30-second time warning? Okay. And we'll start whenever you are ready to go.
Good. Okay. I'm ready. I'm Holly Ann Petrie, and I have 7 children who have been or currently are Decatur Eagles. 5 of them have been served through special services. I'm here tonight to commend the parents who are here and Coach Huff for advocating for a soccer program for middle school. I think it's important that we advocate for students in DISD who are marginalized, those students who need something different than what the district currently offers. When I saw the board action item on tonight's agenda with Coach Huff and Dr. Rue's signature, asking for the board to consider spending the $9,300 to invest in this program for these students, I immediately became aware that Coach Huff had to have used his knowledge as a coach and his expertise as an experienced athletic director to advocate for this program and all its needs. Just as quickly, I became aware that the academically marginalized students in our district, those served through our special education programs, do not have such an advocate. Let me be very clear. This is not at all a complaint against Ms. Terrell. Her transfer to her current position by Dr. Coburn was just as unfair to her as a professional as it was to the children she was charged to serve. She deserves a job where she can excel with her skill set. She has done the best anyone could have done, having been put in that position by Dr. Coburn and every intern and permanent superintendent after him. But when students of this program have a need for advocacy, they have no expert to be that advocate. Not because she doesn't care about these children. Nothing could be further from the truth. I've worked very closely with her over the years. She was simply put in a position in which she doesn't have special education credentials nor experience. And our students who need the most advocacy for funds, services, and implementation were left in the deep to drown. And it's not just the students, it's the teachers. It's the special education staff who also need a leader advocating for the resources and the support to be able to legally follow IEPs. When we needed a new athletic director, we all know there's not a single person on this board or in this community who would have settled for an excess math specialist to be moved into the athletic director position. Of course not. We looked for the most qualified person we could find and paid what it took to get him here. This is also not an attack on Coach Huff. He coached my son as a senior, and I think he has done an excellent job. He enforced integrity, work ethic in my son. I believe he's done an amazing job for our district, our athletic program, and our community. I'm thankful that we got him here. When we needed a leader, we paid top dollar to get a highly recommended interim superintendent in leadership. The DISD board constantly questions academics and scores, but then refuses to place a person with the qualifications needed in the position to lead our most academically vulnerable children. My question tonight is simple. Who's going to stand up and say, it's time to make these uniquely abled children the same priority as all other children and ensure they have a director that is special education certified and experienced? As several of you on the board have personal experience,
that's time.
I pray this board does.
Thank you, Ms. Petrie.
Thank you.
Next up, Alfredo Patino. Do you need a 30-second warning, or you're good?
thank you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Alfredo Padron Patino. Back again to show support for the addition of a soccer program to the middle school. Since the June school board meeting, when the topic of soccer was introduced, you have heard soccer mentioned directly and indirectly from homeschool kids, commissioners of local Decatur youth clubs, and soccer dads that love to coach our future Eagles. I shared the school board agenda in a post on Facebook on Friday, and over the weekend, it spread throughout the Decatur community. Even the neighboring towns like Paradise, Bridgeport were showing support. I counted a total of 98 shared posts with numerous of positive and supportive comments on each post. One of the comments stood out to me is that a lot of folks did not know that middle school soccer was offered in the area. When kids age out of our local youth groups, what do? Those who have the ability to travel the DFW can play in advanced clubs, but those who cannot make that trip look to other sports that the middle school has to offer. And I promise our Decatur kids want to stay local and represent our community by wearing the blue and white uniforms. Soccer fever, like I spoke about before, is alive and growing in this young generation. Just look out in this audience today. Please do not let the budget restraints be a determining factor. Please use the pay for play incentive that was mentioned in prior meetings. And also, by adding this program, there's opportunity to bring in those homeschool kids that can add to our day-to-day daily. I will end with this. The coaches, surrounding towns, Decatur community, and most important, the kids want this to happen. Please vote yes to add the soccer program to McCarroll Middle School. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ali Patino. I need one of those.
Hello, my name is Ali Bettino. I am a second grader at STEM Elementary. I have been playing soccer since I was 4 years old. I loved it for so many years. I hope when I grow up, I hope when I become a teenager, I can play for the middle school soccer team. I hope you vote yes. Thank you. Go Eagles.
Thank you. That's sweet. Next, there's a name on here, that's Nancy Vargas, but it may be scratched out. Nancy, if you're here and you want to speak, please come up. If not, we will move on. Okay. All right. Next is Cynthia Alvarez.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Alvarez, and I'm the Executive Director of Centro Cultural de las Bellas Artes, which translates to Cultural Center for the Beautiful Arts. I am proud to announce that Centro Cultural de las Bellas Artes is partnering with Decatur ISD, Wise County Christian Counseling, and Decatur Public Library for our second annual Dia de los Muertos Festival, Day of the Dead. This beautiful tradition gives people an avenue for honoring their loved ones who have passed away. It has been a pleasure partnering up with DISD in promoting culture and diversity by visiting the different schools and sharing the beauty of our culture with all of the students. I am also proud that with the collaboration of DISD art teachers, this event is going to be even better by having students participate in an art contest for the festival. We also have the middle school theater teacher, Ms. Hughes, working on a beautiful play for that day. So I hope everyone can go and enjoy it. One of the Cultural Center's amazing program is called Abuelitos Unidos del Condado de Wise, United Grandparents from Wise County. This program offers seniors 60 years and plus the opportunity to socialize through different activities. We have partnered up with amazing community leaders such as Meals on Wheels to provide healthy warm meals, Better Living for Texas to provide healthy activities such as yoga and promote healthy habits. We also provide educational resources for in Spanish for our seniors. There's never a dull moment with this special group of abuelitos. If they're not playing loteria, they're working on their arts and crafts. And you may also catch them dancing and singing. They are just exceptional. What makes this program so special and unique from any other program that I've seen is that we have a ballet folklorico made up of all seniors. This ballet folklorico is taking their art to Young Elementary, Rand Elementary, the high school, the middle school, and several community events. We also love visiting nursing homes, and I would like to take this moment to recognize that very special group. I am so thankful that our district is so welcoming to our abuelitos and our culture. Our vision is to keep working together in uniting the community and for Centro Cultural de las Bellas Artes to serve as a bridge that brings people closer. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to Los Abuelitos. Y'all look great, ladies. Okay, thank you. Number 7 on the agenda is the superintendent report. Dr. Rue?
Yes, thank you. Well, I was going to say something about our wonderful Hispanic Heritage Month plans, but you did it so much better than anything I might have been able to say. Just amazing. We're really proud to be a united community. one that cares about its children, who enjoys the partnership that we have with each of you. The people in this room tonight show that they not only care deeply about their own children, they care about all children. So thank you for that. And let me just add a few other things that are happening in Decatur. This week we began Start with Hello Week. And if you're not familiar with that, that is an opportunity for students across all of our campuses to learn how to interact with each other, to be inclusive with one another. It started with the Sandy Hook Promise, that the idea that when we know each other and we learn to care about one another, and all that starts with hello, we become partners together. And so that is happening across the district with activities within classrooms, visits from our Decatur Police Department, a heyday with our high schoolers. There's just going to be a lot going on. And then this week also began at our elementary schools. We kicked off Watchdogs in elementary schools last week, and into these next few weeks we'll be doing a lot of activities, bringing very important parents into schools to support us in the variety of ways that they do, including helping out at lunch and recess. I won't tell you stories about a few watchdog dads getting caught up with recess activity and forgetting to come back in on time. So those things happen too. And homecoming activities have already begun, so be looking for that. Our this year's parade and community rally is October 2nd at 6 p.m. and the game is October 4th. So you won't want to miss either one, and the theme is family game night. So thank you so much. We have good things happening in Decatur.
Thank you, Dr. Rue. Number 8, the consent agenda. 8A, minutes of August 19th, 2024 regular meeting and August 28th, 2024 special meeting. Do we have a motion to approve these minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 19th and August 28th meetings.
I have a motion from Delvin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Jeremy. Is there any discussion on those? If not, then all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Number 9, discussion items. Number is 9A is the Long Range Planning Committee findings with Mr. Brett Sumrow. If you would guide us through what the committee has been working on.
Is this on?
Punch red.
That one?
I think you're on now.
Okay, now I'm good. Yeah. Let me. Okay. Is this plugged in? Yes, sir. All right. So thank you, Dr. Rue and the board, for letting me be here. I'm happy to be here tonight to share the results of the work that the Long Range Planning Committee has been doing, and I'll just go into it. I'm going to skip forward to the table of contents. Looking at the 4, this is really just talking about how important the community is to Decatur ISD and kind of the reasonings behind this and why the district and the board wanted to involve the community to get input from them as a partnership. And I think it's just a first step in kind of a longer process for this community and for this district in identifying needs and potential solutions when it comes to facilities. And then the district wanted to thank all of the members of the Long Range Committee and the school board members that participated, and here's all their names, and some of them are here tonight. So if you participated on the committee, could you stand up and just be recognized and say hi? I know you want to, and I know you're not the only one. So we do have a few here tonight, and so we just wanted to, the district wanted to say thank you for y'all, and thank you for being here tonight. So I do have 47 slides, and the first 37 of them is really kind of highlights of, the committee looked at a lot of things and did a lot of work, and it's kind of a synopsis and highlight of those things. I'm going to go through those relatively quickly, and then we'll slow down a little bit as we get to the end, to the actual recommendations of the committee. But feel free to stop me if you have any questions. I know that you all have seen this before, but this is the first time that the public is seeing it, so it's really important that everything is clear and in there. These were the goals that the committee set forth, set the direction for the district for the next 15 plus years, address the projected growth, address aging facilities, and provide for student opportunity. First, the committee, so let me just say, we did have 4 separate meetings along the way before we got to the draft, and then last week the committee reviewed the draft and approved it, and that's what you're seeing here tonight. So the first several meetings, we looked at kind of the district profile and district information. We started with the district mission statement, empowering lifelong learners to be visionary leaders in local and global communities. And that's really what all this is about. It's about those learners and those students and the facilities that they have to be able to do positive things and make an impact moving forward. And then we looked at the district goals. This is straight from your website, and everything y'all do as a board goes back to these goals. The committee needed to focus back on these goals too, to make sure that the work they were doing aligned with the goals that have been set forth in the district, and I believe that it does. So we looked at just some of the facts around the district. It is 213 square miles in Wise County. It has a single feeder pattern of 4 elementary schools, Ennis being a choice school, K-5, the other 3 being PK to 5, to 1 middle school, to one high school. And then current number of kids when we did this was 3,811. And then we just looked at where geographically the different campuses as well as the other district facilities were located across the district. And Decatur ISD believes in providing a well-rounded educational experience for students in addition to core classes of language arts, math, science, and social studies. DISD students can choose to pursue their interests in other opportunities such as fine arts, CTE, and athletics. So we looked at what those programs were, and on some of we did tour campuses, and so we looked at some of the facilities, especially at the high school. So fine arts, the students can follow their interest in band, choir, or theater arts. The district currently does not have an orchestra program. I wanted to point that out. And then CTE, we looked at the CTE offerings that the district has, and we talked about how some of those programs are in specialized labs designed for them, and some of them are not. But we talked about some of those differences. And then looked at the athletic programs that the district offered as well. The district offers all the UIL sanctioned programs for a 4A school currently for boys and girls, and the only one that you don't in 5A is wrestling as you move forward. Then we looked at the facilities themselves. So DISD had the Texas Association of School Boards conduct a facility condition assessment back in 2021, and they looked at the condition of all the schools and gave them a score. The score is called the Facility Condition Index. We defined that. What that is it's estimated cost of repairs or identified improvements that would be needed at each campus divided by the theoretical cost of what it would be to replace that campus. So it's a ratio. And typically the lower the number, the better facility is. The higher the number, the more work that it might need. And so just to summarize, these were their scores that TASB provided. And as you can see, the majority of your facilities are in the green or the doing well zone. McCarroll is really the exception that's in the red. And really the major reason for that is McCarroll is your oldest campus, originally constructed in 1973. And the majority of the building systems, including the roof and HVAC, are nearing the end of their life expectancies. They're not there yet, but within the next couple of years. And then it doesn't meet current standards, both TEA and some accessibility codes. And I do want to put a caveat on that is it met all the codes that were in place at the time it was constructed. It's just those have changed over time. So the newer standards, it doesn't quite meet it in terms of size of classrooms, accessibility, and some other things like that. When we talk about those buildings and the systems, and we talked about life cycles, we talked about the difference between maintenance and kind of life cycle end of life. Maintenance is the everyday things you do to equipment to really extend its life, but everything is going to eventually wear out. And so we talked about the different systems that would be in a building and the normal life expectancy of those systems. It doesn't mean you can't let them go longer, but once you start getting to those expected life cycles, then it's almost like buying a car. At some point, things are going to start to break. And I think y'all saw that with Carson Elementary School last year. Then we looked at demographics of the district. And the district has a demographer, Zonda, and you get a report. It was every 2 years. I believe you're doing it every year now. So these are excerpts from that report. The committee did get the entire report, but these are a couple of excerpts. This is looking at the enrollment history. So you can see in 2020, when COVID happened, you dropped some kids. But then in 21 and 22, you grew by nearly approximately 200 each of those years, and then slightly down in 2023, 24. Looking forward, though, this is a projection from this school year forward, and the projected growth, 2% in the next couple of years, and then increases to about 4%. And this is looking at that same growth by campus. Interesting thing to look at this is at the high school, based on this projection in the year 2030, you're projected to go to a 5A, to jump to 5A in that year. Actually, it looks like 2029, but UIL redistricts on even years, so it would be year 2030, unless the UIL numbers increase more than this. But looking at the range, you're probably going to catch it in 2030. And then this is the key takeaways. Once again, this is still from the Zonda report. Bottom line, the district is forecasted to enroll more than 4,340 students in 2028-29 and more than 5,400 students by the year 2033-34. So that's about 1,600 students in the next 10 years. What does that mean for your campuses? We then looked at school capacity and your facilities. We talked about how you calculate capacities. There's several ways. We talked about kind of maximum capacity, building capacity, and functional capacity, that capacity that's kind of optimal for a district to operate in, or a campus. And then we identified the methodology, and we talked about which spaces are counted when we look at capacity for each campus level. And then for that, then we got a range at each campus of what the capacity would be, and we wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that these capacities do not include the portable buildings that are at McCarroll. Overlaid that with the projected enrollment from Zonda, and when you hit the blue numbers on here, that's the campuses that are getting over functional capacity, and when you hit the red, you're now over the absolute maximum capacity, as if every single space was occupied every period of the day. And so you can see McCarroll, which I think we all know, we've seen the portables out there, is your first one that hits capacity. You've got a few years before the high school starts hitting functional capacity, and then several years before your elementary school. There's got a lot of room for growth right now. After we kind of went through all of that, we had a survey with the committee. This was always fun. We first, as an icebreaker, asked them to just give a one-word description of existing facilities. When we do things like this, people typically go to kind of negative connotations because they're thinking in the mode of improvement to identify, hey, what can we improve? But there are some positive words in here as well that's always encouraging. And then what's the aspirational facilities? And it's all about inspiring and providing opportunities for the students. So you could tell that the committee had the right frame of mind. This is hard to read, but we should clean this up. But we did ask a couple of kind of bigger questions. One of them was what to do with McCarroll Middle School. And the one that 77% yes said construct a new replacement middle school. The first two where there's nothing on there, one of them is keep it as is, and one of them is keep it as is, but with additions to address the growth. So nobody on the committee thought that McCarroll Middle School, as it stands currently, is adequate for the students in Decatur ISD. And then the high school, we asked people to rank several needs that were identified, and the top three in order are to create a secure entry, replace aging building systems, and increase CTE opportunities for students. We also asked this question that was really important for the committee to answer. At what enrollment should DISD consider a second high school? Overwhelmingly, we did have one response for to keep it at 4A. We had one response to cap it at 5A, but everybody else said you're a one high school district. The one with the most, the 80% on there, 89%, is to stay one high school at its existing campus for as long as possible. So however long that might be, which if you look at the Zonda report is 10 plus years, 15 years maybe. It's off the chart for what that school would cover. So then we get into the committee recommendations. And this is really where all their work came together. So I do want to read each of these. So this is the guidelines that the committee put forth that the school district should follow as they move forward in planning any kind of improvements in the future. Number one, Decatur Independent School District should be will be a responsible steward of tax dollars while providing the necessary resources for high-quality educational facilities supporting the district's strategic plan. Number two, Decatur Independent School District will maintain the facilities and building systems to provide a safe, comfortable, and functional environment for students and staff. Preventative and corrective maintenance will be provided on a regular basis to preserve the longevity of building components and systems. The district will plan on the replacement of building systems based on their expected life expectancy. And then we talked about the right size of schools. For purposes of long-range facility planning, the following guidelines will be used to right size our schools. These guidelines will be used for planning purposes while considering the student forecasted population, educational programs, operational efficiency, and financial viability. The functional capacity formula will be used to determine capacity of existing buildings. All future facility development will use the following student size ranges for planning purposes. Elementary, 700 to 750. Middle schools, 900 to 1,000 students. And then high school, we say see next slide, because we look at that separately. And then consideration for the purchase of future school sites should be integrated into all capital improvement plans. Recommended site sizes are as follows: elementary, 10 to 15 acres, middle school, 25 to 30 acres, and a high school, see below. And then number 5 talks about the high school. DISD is a one high school district and should remain a one high school district as long as possible while continuing to utilize the existing Decatur High School campus. With building additions, the existing campus can accommodate growth through at least the upper enrollment limit of 5A, which is currently 2,274 students as of this school year. So that was really important to the committee, is the investment in that campus that you have up there. They see that it will need, additions and renovations to accommodate as it grows, but that's been planned for at that campus, and then that should be utilized. And then there was consensus on this one. McCarroll Middle School campus has outlived its usefulness in its current configuration. DISD should study solutions to address McCarroll Middle School's aging facility and overcrowding, taking into consideration cost as well as impact during construction to the learning environment of an operational campus. Options to consider in more detail are: construct a new middle school at a new location, construct a new middle school adjacent to the current school, demolish portions of the existing school and construct new additions to the remaining building, or construct new additions and renovate the existing building. This got into more detail than the committee went, so they asked for more information, including cost and what the impact would be for the campus. So that, and we've got some next steps. That's some work that needs to be done by the district in order to put that back out to a committee in the future to determine what they might want to do. And then the last ones: facilities can influence and enhance the district's ability to recruit, retain, and develop high-quality staff. DISD will be mindful of the positive impact facilities can have on staff and will incorporate design strategies for learning, students and staff, and professional development. Modular and mobile classrooms are acceptable to manage growth in student enrollment or for expanded academic programs. That was important to the committee. But for educational, financial, and safety considerations, modular mobile classrooms should not be considered a long-term solution. The committee intentionally did not put a timeline on what long-term is, because they understood that there's a lot of factors in terms of the growth and other things going on. It was really about portables are acceptable, but they shouldn't be considered, way down the road. DISD will prioritize security at each campus by complying with the recommendations in the Texas Education Agency Chapter 61 as a minimum standard. In the interest of transparency, Decatur ISD shall provide an annual public update on the status of the long-range plan and any efforts associated with it, including capital project executions and future capital project planning. And then lastly, a separate bond committee shall be formed with members from the community to discuss priorities for capital projects and the consideration of a recommendation to the school board for a potential bond election. The district should consider a regular bond schedule of 3 to 5 years to address the life cycle replacement and growth projects necessarily for this long-range plan. And with that, then the district identified kind of the 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and 10-plus year priorities. 0 to 5 addressed the McCarroll Middle School, addressed security issues, including Decatur High School entry vestibule or lack thereof, elementary school traffic, and that was at all the campuses, and then a high school addition providing opportunities for kids in CTE, fine arts, and then we talked about the cafeteria kitchen issues with the capacity issue at that school. And then also address campus life cycle system replacements. 5 to 10 years, address the middle school enrollment growth that's projected to continue, address high school enrollment growth potentially, and then campus life cycle system replacements, and then 10-plus years looking towards a new elementary school based on growth, and then continue to look at campus life cycle system replacements. So that's the summary of the committee to set the priorities for the district moving forward. We talked to the committee about next steps, but this is entirely up to you as a board. We're presenting this to you tonight. So this is also being made public tonight. So the district wants to hear feedback from the public based on this work. And then number 3, district work, that's those things that we talked about. It's really kind of getting into more specific potential solutions at the middle school and the high school in that 0 to 5 year range. Potentially forming a bond committee, that would happen after the first of the year, start their work in the spring. Once that bond committee has a recommendation, wanted to survey the larger community that maybe is not participating in that committee to get more input before a potential bond could be called next November. But once again, that's completely up to you. And then the last thing we wanted to share, just from an expectations on schedule and timeline. Sorry, I jumped ahead one. Considerations for a bond. So this committee talked about the long-range planning priorities. That's number 1. Other things to be considered in the bond that this committee did not tackle is transportation, technology, and then which would be student devices, and then any other kind of safety and security district-wide that wasn't necessarily just individual campus things that they had in there. And then the last thing I wanted to share, just an expectation for timeline for a replacement in middle school, just so people understand how long these things take and why it's important to plan ahead and why this is a good first step, not just for potentially a bond next year, but even planning into the future. So a timeline for replacement middle school, if a bond passed next November, assuming you had a successful bond, it takes about 10 months to design and document and issue for bid a middle school. So you're looking at next September, construction next fall, November, and then you would look at it at a fall of 2028 opening for a new campus. So that's just so that you understand kind of how long these things take to plan and execute. And I think I went over my 10 minutes by quite a bit. But questions, comments? And I know you're looking forward to hearing what the community thinks since this is the first time they're seeing it.
Hey, Brett, just a quick question for me, or kind of a statement as well. When we talk on the functional capacity, and we look at those parameters that we used, basically, particularly middle school, high school, that those consider the learning environments, but it does not consider cafeteria, special education, and resource rooms are generally excluded. So even though those functional capacities may show one number, the reality is that some of those buildings, particularly middle school and high school, in some areas, as the cafeteria or maybe even band halls and other things, there's a real more of a dire need to be addressing those in that 0 to 5 year range.
Yeah, and so I will answer that because the committee did look in more detail of those. You're correct. And when we plan a school, we don't plan those around those spaces around functional. We plan around kind of the absolute building capacity. However, when we looked at your existing campuses, the high school is, no, I'm sorry. McCarroll Middle School is the one that the library specifically is undersized for the number of students there per current TEA standards. Your high school is okay. In fact, your high school is okay even with the additions, and all your elementaries are okay right now. But as you get bigger, and that's the thing too, we talked about the portable buildings. You can get those classroom spaces, and there's not a magic number of how many kids you can put out there. But the more you do, the more stress it puts on those core spaces, the cafeteria, the gym, the restrooms are always a big thing, things like that. You are correct. Anyone else? Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I think good. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate all your work you've done that. And appreciate those members of the community that participated in that. It was a lot of work done, and I think it's going to bear fruit for the future for us. Okay, 9B, Dr. Wooten on District Improvement Plan for 2024-2025.
Okay, good evening. I am here to go over the 24-25 District Improvement Plan summary. Inside your board book, you had the actual full plan with the strategies, objectives, and goals. In addition to that, you had this PowerPoint. I do want to preface that as a cabinet, we collaborated together on this PowerPoint. I might be the one presenting, but we all contributed to the content that is inside tonight. And so this is the strategic plan balance scorecard, which you guys saw at the last presentation that we had done. And this is what we will create our plans off of as a district and as a campus. And then starting with goal 1, DISD supports students in a multitude of ways to nurture learning and ensure high performance. The performance objective that we'll be looking at will be by 3rd grade, at least 80% of students will perform at approaches and 50% will be meets or aboves minimum for STAR math and STAR reading test. The data sources that we're going to be using to measure that will be STAR, will be ISIP, which is our iStation. You might hear that interchangeably. And then, of course, we have other district assessments, such as Circle PM and TextKia. And then it is listed throughout all of that, even though it does say until 3rd grade, but that's just because we keep track pre-K through 12. Second, or the performance objective 3, provides specific individualized experiences for every high school senior. And so what we'll be looking at there as far as measurement goes is creation of 4-year plans, increased participation with our ACT or SAT, PSAT, and TSIA2, passing industry-based certifications, and increase in AP exams of 3 or higher. And then this is just the list of our different programs of study when it involves CTE and the things that we offer. We offer quite a bit, actually, that we are all super proud of. Another one of our goals this year, obviously, we can all say that attendance is important. So we have initiatives on making sure that our attendance levels stay at the 96 percentile. We check that. I mean, principals are checking that daily. We check that as a district weekly. And one of the big focuses we'll also do with attendance is just building that awareness on understanding just the relationship between coming to school regularly and academic success. Obviously, there is a financial component to that too, but our big focus is going to be on academic success and attending school. And then ensure equitable access to technology devices and digital resources so that they can build the skills they need for the 21st century is also going to be a big component. And in that district plan, you saw multiple things that we're doing with building citizenship. And then just most of the resources are digital for our kiddos. DISD invests in our employees, and one of the things I put up here is just our professional learning calendar throughout the entire year. One of our big focuses this year is going to be on Tier 1 instruction, and so we are bringing in Lead Forward to do a couple sessions. The first session is on the 20th, which is intentional intervention. There's another Lead Forward that is a little bit further into the school year on engaging learners. And that is going to be not only district staff, but it's also going to be campus leadership. And so various members will be attending that, and there'll be about 50 people in all for that. We are also going to be bringing in Rob Thornell, who Dr. Rue knew that does a lot with just working on building capacity, leadership in general, but we feel that that is going to be a very critical component as well to help build that capacity within our campuses and really move the gauge. Equip staff with the civilian response to active shooter events. I'll be honest with you, I had to learn that one because I just know it as craze, and I even spelled it wrong with a Z in the beginning. And so obviously that is something that's already been conducted. Frequent drills, all the emergency procedures, we follow all of that. We'll continue to follow all of that. And then also in the future for this school year, we're going to be doing a staff survey, and then obviously communication, just keeping everybody informed between board updates that the superintendent gives all the way to what we post pretty regularly. Monique's done a great job with that, with our website and our communication platforms. And then I kind of spoke ahead because I might have seen this a couple times. So the communication platforms, once again, is going to be in there. And then just opportunities for parents and community members to participate. So DEIC, our district and Educational Improvement Committee, SHAC is another one. You'll hear that a little bit later down when we approve our members. And then we have safety and security meetings as well. And all of that includes community and parent participation. And then just goal 4, managing funds and resources. So develop and implement purchasing manual to ensure purchasing compliance and efficient use of funds. Complete the 10-year master facility plan and continue to provide board with revenue updates each 6 weeks. And obviously maintain our transparency stars is going to be part of goal 4. That's going to be a focus for our district. Any questions? I want everyone to make note. I did that under 10 minutes, Brett.
I do want to point out that your overview was of the goals and the targeted objectives.
Correct.
Within the strategies, they are tied back to how does that translate to improve student success in the district in each category. So we will be holding ourselves accountable to not simply saying this got done, but what I prefer to refer to as the so
The what.
What
She may have told us this once or twice or 10.
what happened because we did this, and the measure is how does that increase the opportunities and the achievement and the success of our students.
Yes, ma'am.
I have no questions. Thank you, Dr. Wooten. All right, agenda item number 10, 10A, cybersecurity update. Mr. English, let us know what's been going on since last year.
No pressure.
No pressure. Welcome to DISD.
Absolutely. There we go. All right, so good evening, Dr. Rue, President Ms. Schultz, and board members. Apologize, a little tongue-tied this afternoon. So one of the things that I'm here to present on is the cybersecurity that happened. I am presenting it as just the facts. I want to make sure that we don't put any opinions in it, just straight facts. Okay? Since 2005, more than 3,000, almost 4,000 school districts have been attacked. In 2022, there was over 48, and in 2023, there was over 120 schools. It's increasing. This is just a broad map of the school districts since 2015 to 2022. Larger circles have been hit more than once. It's big. If a straight Google search will show you that there are multiple styles of cyber attacks. The most common ones are these three, which are phishing, malware, and ransomware. Very common for a lot of school districts. Emails, of course, for phishing, malware, and ransomware are typically executed by somebody individual inside the business or school district. Decatur ISD, this is what was in place as of 2023. Cisco ASA, which was originally released to the public in 2005. Windows, the oldest servers in the district were Server 2012, which was released to the public in 2013. The shares that were set up on the district to share files were set up the same way that they would be in large or small districts, so that is identical. That doesn't change for districts. The way that most school districts, businesses, and entities will build a network is to have the internet intersect with a firewall before it becomes part of the accessing the internal network. Most places will build a hurdle to make it a challenge. The training I was taught when I was going through education in college and stuff was build more hurdles, make it more of a challenge, make it frustrating for them. And it does one of two things. It either gives them the annoyance to want to give up, or it emboldens them and makes them try harder. It's one of the two, unfortunately. Just to remind everyone where we were a year ago in September, Labor Day was the 4th. On September 5th, Decatur ISD was notified at 5:51, our team was, that Skyward was down. At that time, no information was leading to the implication that we had been attacked. At 7 o'clock, our team arrived at the department, found that all the servers in the entire district were down except for one. Phone systems were also shut down at that time as well. Communication with outside support to resolve the first issue showed that there was some concerns that needed to be brought to light and potentially involve forensic teams to determine if a breach had occurred. TEA was notified at 8:30, or before 8:30. The first meeting was at 8:30. So between 7 o'clock and 8:30, they had contacted TEA, FBI, local police, multiple agencies to get everybody rounded up and into this call. On that same day, in the September 5th, demands were displayed on multiple devices. It was also printed out on the multiple printers. Contact was initiated by the school district on the 6th. Apparently I missed the slide. Oh, the recommendation was to use alternate forms of communication at that time to prevent any additional risk for the district. This is restoration of data started almost immediately, and I have to give a lot of props to my team, which Mr. David Jackson is our network administrator along with the rest of the team, and I do appreciate their help. The backup solutions were key with restoring the district back quickly. The insurance and the team that was helping us with that said they were immaculate. They were in excellent condition, which is outstanding. Additional factors there, such as the phones were restored and such. Control of the primary servers, which started this off, was late September 5th, early September 6th. I know Mr. Jackson and the team were there late and actually were told by the team that was working with us, go home, get some rest. We'll have it handled by morning. So they took care of it all night, they fixed it, and in the morning we had control of the domain again. Phones were restored by the 7th and accessible to staff. The former communications director released a statement to the local media on September 8th. That was to let them know that a cyber breach had occurred. Then also on September 12th, Skyward was restored for staff use for both finance and student. The access to families was, I believe, within a week of that. So it was very quickly from one point to the next. Between September and November, restoration of additional systems was done. It took time for each of them. Some systems took days to restore because they had to be completely purged and rebuilt from scratch, and that does take time and manpower. By December 13th, all staff did receive an email that identity protection would be available for the 2024 school year, and this information was also in the last Eagle newsletter, which was in January. Between November and February, upgrades to all of the district systems were done. That included all the primary servers and secondary servers, truthfully, as well as we did, let's see here, verification of student and staff data was utilized in those. That was part of it, was making sure that the data was accurate. Not just that it was there, but that it was, any changes that had occurred during the breach were not mistakes. That was part of the deal. In March, the forensic team did finish their evaluation and determined who had been breached, and that information went out in a letter on March 5th. So the question is always asked, well, how did they get in? Well, it wasn't one of the top 3 that I mentioned. It was actually a different type. I mentioned this earlier. I'm a bit of an analogy person. Picture it like somebody walking up to a jukebox and hitting it, and it just happens to play music. It was very similar to that. They knew how to get in because they knew where to put the information. That was what was going on. So in this particular case, the vulnerability of the attackers was on the firewall. Password security to the firewall was not a factor. The password was never leaked. That information was never out there. The individual account that was utilized could have been anybody. It was the last user account. It will always be the last user account on the firewall. It could have been support. It could have been me if I had been logged into the firewall. They impersonate based off of that and go in. But I want to say that the information, the password, the security was protected. That was not a factor. It was just they knew how to hit the firewall just right. Now, what's changed since then? We've implemented a new firewall, obviously. We've upgraded all the servers to standards. We've heightened security procedures, including 2-factor authentication, which I always recommend for both personal and businesses. That is a very big factor. We've also implemented Sentinel-1 as an antivirus solution for the district. We've also enhanced password security for all users. We build into cycles. Now, moving forward, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing things such as testing for vulnerabilities within the system. There are companies out there that do this for a living, and they will be helping us with this information moving forward. In addition to that, we will also have an assessment to determine if there are any exposed situations, how do we close them? And that's what they're going to help us with. We've already deployed antivirus, but we will continue to deploy those on any and all devices that enter the district. Audits of staff and students to determine any common behaviors and actions taken by individuals. That's just standard practice, as well as training, which for staff, for individuals, we want to make sure that they know what happens if there is a situation, what are they supposed to do. And I think mine was, I think I beat her as far as speed goes. But if there are any questions, of course, I'm here, and Mr. Jackson is also here to help if there are any questions.
I would like to say I appreciate the opportunity to have this look back and lessons learned, if you will, and things, and then moving forward, how we can continue to strengthen our vulnerabilities within this system. This shift occurred from businesses, which of course still, banks and such still find themselves victims of cyber attacks, but a shift occurred several years ago, and your chart showed that, to public sector, to hospitals and cities and school districts.
Yes.
So we must share with one another and talk about what we know and how we can strengthen each other within this public sector. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. English. All right, number 11, financial information. Ms. Watson.
You're not a slide, are you? Okay, good. All right, let me do that.
You have in front of you the financials for August. This is preliminary. There's still accounts payable out there, some journal entries that are for year end that have to be completed. So as of right now, we're sitting at a deficit of $882,000. The revenue has been adjusted. The near final summary of finance from TEA came out on September 9th. And so I was able to get that entry in right before I published the financials. There are still several, like I said, invoices that are out for work that was done in August that has to be paid. But this is right now probably the best case scenario for this year. So instead of being what we thought would be the projected loss, we're right now probably going to look at $1 million to $1 million as the loss for last year. And part of that if you'll look at the revenue section, the delinquent taxes and the tax penalty and interest, those we ended up collecting more, unfortunately. That means people paid their taxes later, of about $617,000 more than what we had budgeted for. So that was another reason why the loss is not as much as what we projected. And then interest income was sitting almost at $1 million last year instead of the $600,000 that we had budgeted. We ended up, which I'll talk about that later on at the annual investment report, but we ended up getting 5% consistently all year last year on our fund balance that we had. And then you'll see there at child nutrition, it right now also will have accounts payable in there as well, has a $51,000 loss. And then your debt service, we will be adding $214,000. And the reason for that is the increase in the state existing debt allotment for the $100,000 exemption that passed in November after we had completed the budget. Any questions? I'm just going to stay up here because I'm the next one on the agenda as well.
We have, well, you want to just go ahead and go to yours, if you don't mind.
On the action item?
Yeah.
Yeah, because any questions?
Okay, so is there anything
She's
else on the financials? Okay, anybody questions on the financials? If not, we'll move on to the action items. All right, number 12A, consider to take action for the purchase of attendance credits and delegation of contractual authority to the superintendent.
Do you want to talk this?
You start and I'll jump in. How's that?
Okay. We are considered a Chapter 49 district again this year. That is called recapture. However, we are a GAP district where we don't have to actually pay recapture back, but we still have to go through all of the motions and have all the authority and submit everything to TEA as if we were. What this does, TEA went to where it's all online now, and so they have requested that we do, for us to file on the foundation school program, you delegate the authority for Dr. Rue to do the intent of the district. And our district intent has been that we go in and we say, if we have to pay recapture, we'll pay you, don't take it from our state revenue. And so we will pay them out over the year in installments. But again, that's only if we have to pay recapture, and currently at this state, we are not having to pay recapture, but we still have to file the form. And when we do the motion, you have to read, unfortunately, the motion as it is in there. You have to get all of that, because I have to submit the minutes to TEA.
Will you read it?
Will I read it?
I don't see the action
Oh,
verbiage.
it's on the cover sheet.
I see it, I'll do it, Matt.
Okay.
I approve the agreement to purchase attendance credit and delegation of contractual authority to the superintendent.
Oh,
The
no,
motion?
it's way bigger than that.
It's the part below that,
It's
the
the part
motion.
below that.
Well, then I do not see that.
Okay, for the 24-25 school year, I move, does anybody see that at the very bottom of the cover sheet?
No, I do.
Okay.
You want to read?
All right, I move that we approve for the 24-25 school year. I move we delegate contractual authority to obligate the school district under Texas Education Code 11.1511C4 to the superintendent solely for the purpose of obligating the district under TEC 48.257 and TEC Chapter 49, Subchapters A and D, and the rules adopted by the Commissioner of Education as authorized under TEC 49.006, and approve the agreement for the purchase of attendance credit.
Perfect, thank you.
We have a very eloquent motion by Chief Campbell. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second, good job.
You got off easy on that one, doing the second. Okay, we have a second by Nate. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Ms. Watson. All right, 12B, consider and take action regarding appointment of members to the School Health Advisory Council, better known as SHAC. Dr. Wooten?
Yes, so the School Health Advisory Council, which is SHAC, is a group appointed by the school district to serve at the district level. Obviously, our members come from our community. We always look, and through applications, look for anyone with medical backgrounds, which we are fortunate because we have quite a diverse group that do have that. And so you have a list in front of you of our members. And what that means is these are voting members. We have more people that are on SHAC, but they're not the voting members. And so that is what you need, what I'm asking you to approve. And since we were looking at cover sheets, I had a typo, so I'm recommending you to approve it, not we to the. So.
Can I make a quick statement real quick? Because I was on the SHAC committee before, but since being elected president, I'm required to be on the Safety and Security Council, and so I didn't think it was right for me to be on both committees, so I asked Ms. Schneider to take my place, which she thankfully agreed to do that. So just letting you know, because I have had some questions from people saying, did I step down off the SHAC committee? And that was the only reason. I enjoyed my 2 years on there, and it was run very well.
And I did mention that at the SHAC meeting, too.
Okay, thank you.
You didn't abandon us.
I didn't abandon you, no.
And thank you for attending your very first meeting with us.
Okay, do we have a motion? Somebody want to take a stab?
I recommend that the board approve the 24-25 members to the School Health Advisory Council. Second.
I have a motion from Matt, a second from Jeremy. Any discussion?
That was Chief Campbell.
Oh, it was Chief. Oh, y'all are starting to sound alike down there. So, okay, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor of approving those members, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Dr. Wooten. All right, 12C. Ms. Watson, you're back up to consider and take action on the annual investment report.
In your packet, you have the annual investment report. The cover sheet there shows that there are 9 types of investments that the district could invest in. Currently, we invest all of our savings into tax pool, which they invest in a multitude of different investments to give us a good return. You'll notice that November was our highest month for interest, which we earned 5.372 in interest that month. Since then, it has just steadily declined, and it continues to steadily decline, a basis point here and there. But with that, we ended up, for the whole year, all funds invested, we earned $1.3 million in interest last year through tax pool. And then you have in the packet the actual policies, both legal and local, that we go by when we invest the money. Any questions?
Would you speak just briefly to tax pool and why it is that school districts align themselves with that tax pool investment portfolio?
It allows you to have your money readily available. So we invest all of our state revenue into tax pool, and so when we need it, we can get it in a day's notice. So if you invested, say, in treasury bills, then you have to invest it for 3 months at a time. And if you need to withdraw early, then you would have to pay a penalty. With tax pool, you get a dollar value and you get your money back, like I say, in a day's notice. And so for liquidity purposes, that's why we invest in tax pool.
And it's also considered sort of the gold standard for public schools. It is it is what school districts do.
The majority of school
across
districts invest in tax pool.
If no one has any questions, do we have a motion to approve the annual investment report?
All right, I recommend that the board approve the annual investment report for the year ending August 31st, 2024.
I have a motion this time from Chief Campbell. Do we have a second?
I second.
A second from Ms. Schneider. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Action item 12D, consider and take action regarding the McCarroll Middle School 7th and 8th grade soccer.
Yes.
Dr. Rue, you want to start it?
Yes, I'll be happy to. The board heard in discussion at last month's meeting the proposal for middle school soccer. This proposal provides for 4 teams, an A and a B team for 7th and 8th grade. It provides for the equipment, stipends for the coaches, for officials, for gloves and cones and transportation. And it also allows for the participation of students following their track season in the spring. It's a very truncated season of middle school soccer. The competitions would begin no sooner than April 4th, and there are about 5 school districts around us that would be ready competitors should the board approve middle school soccer. We are looking at a budget proposal, as you heard last month, of $9,600 and $9,660. I left that 60 off. And it is something that can be absorbed within the existing budget. It would not require a budget amendment to do so. So we're bringing this back to you for your consideration and action tonight. I don't know that I see any of our athletic staff. Yes, perhaps I do. I do indeed. So if there's something that you have a question, if you have a question that I can't answer, then I will call on a friend. I get to dial a friend, right? For that.
Can you tell us again, who are the other schools in the, I know we mentioned this before, but I forgot exactly what the other schools were in that grouping.
Absolutely. They are Mineral Wells, Pilot Point, Bridgeport, Gainesville, and Aubrey. There are a few other districts that are examining this potential right now: Springtown, Salina, are also looking at it.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm opening this up for discussion. Anybody has anything they want to say for or against, please do so now.
I'm ready for a motion if you are.
No, you can make the motion.
Mr. President, because it supports numerous goals, strategic goals for the Decatur Independent School District, I move that we approve the 7th and 8th grade soccer program, and I expect lots of happily cheering kids and parents back there. This is a big deal. It's the right thing to do, and I move that we approve the 7th and 8th grade soccer program at Decatur at the middle school level at McCarroll Middle School.
All right, I have a motion from Dr. Joyner to approve this. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second from Chief Campbell. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say something too. First off, let me say that adding this program, I think, will be tremendous for our community and for the families that are out here right now. 4 months ago, and I'm trying not to have amnesia to the fact that 4 months ago we eliminated a program, the bilingual program from RAN. And that was not something that personally I wanted to do, but it was something that happened. That program is something that had been put in place for a long time for a lot of different people. And that is no longer here, and I support that decision that the board had at that time. But one of the main reasons why that was eliminated was because of budgetary constraints. And so I sit here selfishly as an individual. I want this badly. But as a board member, I think it's important that we don't talk out of both sides of our mouth whenever we're sitting in here in workshops and we're trying to cut costs and cut the budget down, and then we turn around and we're looking to do this. And it is only $10,000. And money's not the point to me. It's the principle and what we did to the bilingual program too. So with that, I cannot support this.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, then let's put it to a vote. All those in favor of adding 7th and 8th grade soccer to McCarroll Middle School, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, motion passes 5-1. All right. Next item on the agenda, 12E, consider and take action regarding the TEA waiver for staff development days.
Can I get applause for that? You guys need to be here more often. Okay, so I'm here before you to talk about the staff development waiver. So this waiver allows the district to train staff on various educational strategies designed to improve student performance in lieu of student instruction during the school year. The waiver provides for a maximum of 2,100 total waiver minutes to use for professional development for districts and to provide operational and instructional minutes. Now, I want to be clear, we this year have plenty of minutes with the PD that we're taking. This is just a waiver to put into place because, let's face it, Mother Nature you can never truly control. And so in case something was to happen, we could then look at, what falls within regulations of this waiver and what we might be able to do with that. But we have plenty of minutes with our current calendar. Each district may choose how to apply their approved waiver. For instance, schools may choose to offer early release, late start, all-day staff development, or a combination. However, the total waiver minutes for staff development shall not exceed the 2,100 minutes per year that they would grant us for this waiver. This waiver is for staff development in place of student instruction. Therefore, the waiver minutes are only applicable to staff development provided instead of student instruction. So it is very clear about it being for professional learning for our teachers. And so I'm asking for you to approve our waiver for the 2024-25 school year.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes. Yes.
So this is not a waiver for like, we can't go over 2,100 minutes, right? I mean, is that what?
The waiver would only allot for 2,100 minutes, but in our case, when our calendar was created, we have the required minutes. And so this is more, I wouldn't say in addition to, it's just in case something was to happen, the state would give us 2,100 minutes to offset something. But it's not because I'm going to do more PD, or it's not because we're going to switch up a calendar. It's just there.
Because that was my concern, is we're not switching a calendar, right?
No, ma'am. This is the calendar that we are going with, and we have plenty of the required minutes. Thank you. Good question.
Any other questions? Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
I recommend that the board approve the staff development waiver for the 24-25 school year.
Have a motion from Jeremy. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Nate. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda, 12F. Consider and take action about contract abandonment of professional personnel for the 24-25 school year. Dr. Rue?
Yes, we brought this to the board's consideration, for consideration and approval of not accepting a resignation. We discussed that in personnel, and it's brought back to you tonight for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Before we do the.
Hmm?
No.
I recommend the board not accept the resignation, as this resignation is not for good cause and not within the free resignation period.
All right, I have a motion from Ms. Snyder. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Dr. Joyner. Any other further discussion on this? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed 6-0. It is 7:21, and as of this time, we are adjourned.